What's going on, guys? Your boy Riding Amazing here. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, what I wanted to do is actually react to Gotcha Gamer's latest video here, where he has that he got to play Xilonen early. This is something that's kind of insane, you know. Some of the YouTubers do get access to the character a little bit early. I'm not gonna be able to make my guide till like a few days after her actual release, guys. But yeah, no, like, I wanted to see the first impressions of the character, see exactly what she's able to do, and yeah, we'll see if all the stuff from the early access in terms of the, you know, the beta info and all that is actually in the game as well. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of react here, and I'll pause the video whenever we got some you know, anything that I want to kind of mention here. So yeah, we'll start the video here and let's hop in.
Early access to Xilonen, and let me tell you, I think we're onto something really special here. Because,
cool,
let me ask you, what's better than Kazuha? Well, how about two Kazuhas?
Yeah, and the team he's running too, right? Farina, Nuvalet, Kazuha, Xilonen. Like, that is the team that people were thinking to run anyway, you know? Like, that's gonna be kind of crazy. You have, obviously, Farina with the fanfare stacks. You have Kazuha with the 40% and the 40% red shred, the 40% from Viridus and Fenrir. You got the red shred. Xilonen's gonna be giving, what is that, a 40% elemental buff and a 36% red shred. If you have Peak Patrol Song too, you're going to be getting a little bit more on top of that. Oh my god, this Nuvalet team, guys, is going to be absurd. The only thing you might have concerns with is interruption resistance, because you don't have Zhongli anymore, so you could easily get knocked back. But I think other than that, that team is going to be absurd.
Check this out.
Already pause the video instantly.
Yeah,
but
it works absolutely flawlessly here.
Yeah, look at her, look at her
Xilonen
burst right there. That's
super
sick.
easy to use in these kinds of teams.
Yeah, man.
Okay,
She
but
seems
let's
like
start from the
insane.
beginning. So in this video, I'm gonna give a very basic overview of Xilonen and how she works. My first
and that's the new
of
boss
her,
too. I just took that in. Yo, that's literally the new boss we're gonna face for her mats. The Secret Source Sampler guy, right? Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
And how she works, my first impressions of her, and I also share a couple of teams I've found to be really fun to play her with. Now, keep in mind, this footage is obtained from the creator experience server.
Yeah, so they, like, the thing is,
here.
the whole thing with that, guys, is that the bigger YouTubers do have access to the character early, so they're gonna be able to, you know, do their little, like, first impressions thing. But it's nice that they're at least waiting till the day the character releases to do the main guide, because then, you know, at least I can maybe compete. You know, I'll drop my video hopefully sometime around that. But yeah, no, that
may
that's
actually differ from the global
cool.
version. And basically, because Hoyo allowed me to give you this quick sneak peek of Xilonen, a more in-depth video of her, which includes the showcase and the guide, will be released on October 4th, which is gonna happen in a few days from this video. Okay, so
that's a nice thing that Gotcha Gamer did, though. He's saying that he's gonna do a full guide on the day of release and not a guide before she's actually released, you know? I feel like that would be kind of crazy, so...
she's a second Kazuha. Well, she's not exactly second Kazuha, but she offers very similar benefits. Okay, so for example, you see these groups of like treasure hunters?
Yeah.
Let's say I apply some Hydro to them.
How easy is it to get the skill
do
up?
a couple of hits.
And you already have the buff. That was only like 3 normal attacks, right? That's crazy. Bro, like, her red shred capabilities too, just by doing that, is super easy to do. You apply Hydro on the enemy, or you apply Pyro, Electro, or Cryo. You go up with Xilonen, you do your like 3 normal attacks off the E, and you're good. Like, that's crazy. And it's just instant too. That's insane. You're able to do that.
Go back to Duelet.
Nuvalet does his
and do some amazing damage.
And
like,
he's gonna be doing his damage. Yeah. That's crazy, man.
So basically how it works, you see these waves below him? Well, those waves will be active whenever Xilonen fills up her Night Soul bar during the skill. Yeah. And you see these little like gems, or I think they're called samplers,
right
next to her like Night Soul bar.
When those get maxed out, you get the red shred buff, right?
It ends her Night Soul mode, and once this thing appears below her, that
the little like circle, I guess, the circle effect.
That means everyone's resistance will be shredded based on the samplers she had. So in this team, since there's only like Hydro units and 1 Geo unit, both Hydro and Geo resistances will be shredded on this enemy.
That's really good, man.
Shred doesn't actually apply on the enemy, it applies from this thing right here. And if you get close to any enemies, their resistance will be shredded.
Wow, so in Spiral Abyss content where you clear a wave of enemies and a new wave of enemies spawns, you literally run up, you don't even have to reapply it, you just still have the resistance shred from what you did on the previous enemies. That's really good.
So it's actually super flexible in places like the Spiral Abyss.
Yeah.
a new wave of enemies coming, and if this thing is still active, those new enemies' resistances will be still shredded.
Still shred is crazy.
Wow,
that's
work,
like an
she
insane
does need to be in a
buff.
party with 2 elements from Hydro, Pyro,
exactly.
Cryo, or Electro. So for example, this team I've been enjoying a lot. It's made up of Furina, Benny, and Ito.
Ooh.
Now all I have
Ito
to do
with
is set up a couple of
two
things,
Geo only needed.
and then as you can see,
and
the
he's doing
resistance shred still
99
applies, which
KE,
is really
and then
cool.
into the normal
and
attacks.
Ito's doing pretty nice damage as well.
That's not bad.
Now if she doesn't have it,
bro, that means any Noelle mains out there, guys, we are gonna be eating, bro. We do Noelle, Xilonen, Furina, and then a flex slot. Like that is gonna be a crazy team, I think. Yeah. I think that's going to be a
one
really,
of those
really strong
two
team.
elements I've mentioned. Then when she activates her skill, her normal attacks and plunging attacks will gain damage increase. I mean, just by
and that's when you run her like
on-field
main DPS.
DPS.
I mean, it still was like
but
not
with
bad.
The two
That's
elements
respectable.
I've mentioned, it's like a couple
Considering
of attacks
this is a
and you're
support
done.
character
so
too,
yeah,
right,
she's
guys?
super flexible if you want to do things quickly. Now, as for her burst, it basically has 2 modes. So if you're playing with 2 of the mentioned elements, when you activate the burst, she will start healing the active character, which is like amazing.
So healing
and
on
only
your active character, not off field.
Teams like with Furina, I believe her healing is pretty good to activate the fanfare stacks. But if she's playing with less than 2 of those elements, then if you activate the burst, she will deal damage in AoE once and a couple of more times.
Yeah,
okay,
you get a few more hits in. Okay, that's cool. Well, that's a crazy shot.
Very rough overview of her entire kit.
She looks so good, by the way, too.
And
like, I was about to say, like, her design, bro, is so good, too. Like, just aesthetically, like, the character looks so
damage
good, man.
in AoE
I think they cook design-wise for this character.
Times.
It's insane.
Okay, so
yeah,
that's
right
a
here.
very
guys, this is
overview
W design right here.
Again,
I'm not
the full
gonna lie.
showcase and guide video is coming in like a couple of days, and in the meantime, I'm just gonna share some of my thoughts about her so far, and what do I think about her free-to-play potential. Well, when it comes to free-to-play potential, I think she's pretty busted right now.
Pretty busted. I mean,
if
guys,
you put the 2 and 2 together,
this is expected,
it's
man.
pretty clear the new artifact set Scroll of the Hero of the Cinder City is pretty much handmade for her. So in the addition of shredding the enemy's resistance, she will also boost the 2 elements of the reaction she triggered. And so the first thing I thought is that while Kazuha can boost elements such as Hydro, Pyro, Cryo, and Electro, can't really boost Geo, right? Well, Xilonen not only can boost Geo, but all the other 4 elements. Obviously, she cannot boost Dendro, and she will not be able to boost Anemo.
Yeah,
but
unfortunately,
with these 5
Dendro and
elements,
Anemo
you can
are not
probably
part of it.
imagine there's a ton of teams that will want her. Like the first team that came to my mind was Ito. I mean, I still have a soft spot for this guy.
Bro, Noelle, bro. Noelle
right
is the team that I'm gonna be there for, guys. Noelle, Xilonen, Furina, bro. And then you run, I guess, Bennett. Yeah, right? Like, that is gonna be a crazy team, man. I'm excited to run that. The only thing is, I guess, on that team is you'll have a lot of energy problems, I guess. So I might have to run, like, Favonius Furina, maybe Sag Bennett or Sag Furina, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, or maybe Xilonen might have to run, like, one of those swords, too. But, yeah, no, like, that is going to be a team I'm kind of excited for in terms of, like, a Geo buff, right, for, like, Noelle. And then, yeah, I want to try riding Shogun out, you know? I know people were saying, like, Chevreuse is going to be better. I do want to see if, like, Xilonen can work at C0 for, like, a Raiden team. Maybe, you know, that'll be an option if you don't have dupes on your Chevreuse. Maybe it's comparable, you know? We'll see.
Ito, Furina, Benny, and Xilonen. Like, this is the ultimate hyper carry's dream.
Yeah,
Furina's damage buffing,
it is, man.
Benny's
Like, a
attack
lot of
boosting,
buffing you're
and
getting
Xilonen's
to.
resistance shred and damage boosting from the artifact set. It's pretty nuts. But then there's also Navia teams, like for example Double Pyro team.
Yeah,
with
Navia.
Benny and Xiangling. It also works really well. I mean, the thing that's really amazing about Xilonen is that her field time is so minimal.
It's quick,
Seriously,
yeah. Like, I guess, like, that was one thing, too. Like, it's literally, as I mentioned earlier, you run up, hit the enemy 3 times, and you already proc your full passive effect for the elemental skill. So you're getting the full resistance shred off of, like, 3 normal attacks off the E, or even just switching into the character. Like, that's insane. I think, like, that alone is, like, a really good
land
effect.
a couple of normal attacks, and the Night Soul bar will be filled, and the skill's resistance shred will be activated.
Yeah,
and then
man.
you can just use the burst and switch out. Since I mentioned that she works very similarly to Kazuha, I also thought about Nivelette. Like,
I mean,
this
yeah.
guy just
He's
keeps
getting
winning
every
and
buff,
winning
guys.
with
He's getting
almost every update. So now, you can easily play like Nivelette, Furina, Kazuha, and Xilonen. This team works perfectly fine. The only thing to consider, I guess, if you don't have Nivelette's C1, then there will will be problems with having no resistance to interruption when he's shooting the laser. But ironically, Xilonen's C1 actually boosts
does provide it. I was about to say, like, her C1 can give interruption resistance to the team too. So if you're someone that's like, okay, I completely want to replace Zhongli on this, you know, Nuvalet, Kazuha Farina team for hypercarry Nuvalet, if you wanted to, you know, swap in Xilonen and you go C1, C2 Xilonen, bro, this is going to be absurd, guys. You're going to run, like, interruption resist. Or if you go for Nuvalet C1, right, then you get it as well. But if you want her to just give it to any character, I think that's more valuable than just having it on Nuvalet himself, right? So honestly, going for that dupe might not be a bad idea, and I hope I get lucky when I'm pulling on her, because you know, that's gonna be insane, man. Just getting that extra
interruption. One of her skills effect is active, so it's very interesting that she can also offer that.
That is
and yeah,
really
on top
good.
of that, I'm also amazed that she can heal, and the healing is actually pretty significant. And so far, my experience in Farina comps was pretty good.
6K,
and then
6,900 per take. Like, that's pretty good. I mean, I think my Bennett can only really get to around like 5,000, maybe 6,000 max, but like 6,900, I assume that's not even like a fully like decked out defense build. Like, that's pretty good. That's actually really good.
Technical reasons, I cannot show the Abyss footage. I did play her in the Korean Abyss, and
damn,
she felt
bro, what is
really
he doing?
Great. Most of the teams I slotted her in, she worked as a perfect support. Although one thing I noticed is that even though with some energy recharge built in, she did have a problem as a single Geo unit in the team to have the burst ready off cooldown.
I see. So that's gonna entail that we need to run more ER on our substats, right? Because it looks like Xilonen, especially on a team where she has no other Geo partner to get, you know, Geo energy, she's gonna kind of struggle for that energy. So I think now that I'm thinking about it for Xilonen, yeah, you probably want to get as many energy recharge substats as you can, while still hitting that threshold for defense, so that you can run the Peak Patrol song and you can get the full benefit from that. So that, I mean, yeah.
But if it's not a Farina team, I don't really see a problem triggering her burst every other rotation.
If you have someone on Fast Sword as well, like, you'll probably be good too.
Would be her own personal performance. I haven't really fully explored it yet, but it does seem like she's far more better to be utilized as a support, at least at C0, and I haven't really looked at all the constellations, so I'm guessing she might get some damage boosting. Maybe, even as a support, like, logically thinking, all she does is like land a couple of punches, and then you activate the burst. And if you're playing with one of those two elements, that means she will deal Geo damage like 2 times from a normal attack when she's under the skill's influence. And then the burst doesn't deal damage, it just heals. But if you're playing like in more Geo-centric team, which is like without the 2 elements.
So that's like the main difference with Xilonen too, is like if you run her on a team with 3 or more Geo, then you're not going to get any healing at all though. So she loses the whole healing part of her elemental burst, but you only gain extra damage on her burst, and then for her main DPS potential, it's good, right? It's good. But then you do lose out on the healing, so I mean, that kind of, you know, that kind of could be a little bit annoying. Depending on the team, but I mean, you're making crystallized shields most likely because of the enemy's element, and you're picking up the crystallized shields. So yeah, I mean, I think it'll still be all right, you know, on like a mono Geo comp, especially if you're running like a Zhongli or something, you know, just to guarantee your protection. But yeah, no, I think mono Geo is probably good. So,
then yeah, you can stay on the field and do some damage with her, and the burst will also land a couple of AoE attacks. But so far,
and that's another thing too, is like you'll get a little bit extra damage as well from her burst when you are running around a mono Geo setting too. So you know, there's that trade-off. It's like, are you gonna run her support for the bus, or are you gonna run her for you know, main DPS on field damage dealer?
Towards her support mode. I don't know, I'm probably just excited that I can like have 2 Kazuhas in a team, and this whole situation reminds me of like Yelan, because you know what's better than Xingqiu? Well, 2 Xingqiu.
2 of them, yeah, and that's kind of the idea too with Xilonen. She's like another Kazuha, and you can either run them together or you can split them up and have one on one side of the Abyss and another on the other side, and that gives you a lot of flexibility for your teams, where if you wanted to have Kazuha on multiple different teams, you have someone that can fill in that slot. That's why I thought Chevreuse was such a good unit for Raiden Shogun, because she fills that like Kazuha replacement slot for that team, because the hypercarry team was already overload anyway, right? So getting Xilonen for a bunch of other teams is going to be really strong, and that allows you to run Kazuha on maybe another team and not necessarily have to run him you know, alongside Xilonen. I mean, you can, but like, you know, it gives you that freedom, you know, you get to like free up your teams a little bit, which I think is really good.
So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to my really liked first impressions of her. Although I will mention that exploration with her is quite amazing.
Really good.
Natlan.
Yeah, I mean, look at her. She's going up.
Work really well with Milani. So if you play them together, switching between her
I don't have
and
Milani on my account personally,
which is possible because of that transmission effect, it just feels
and
really fast.
Yeah, that seems pretty quick, man. I think movement with Xilonen too. Like if we're just talking Natlan exploration, she's easily gonna be the best one. Like climbing up mountains and moving a lot faster in her elemental skill or switching into her for a nice little you know, blessing. Like that I think is really impactful, especially for exploring.
And the fact that you can finally run on the walls and run like in the Matrix, this is like something I wanted to see in Genshin for a long time.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah,
and she has such a good design, guys.
But
they cooked with her design and stuff too, man. Like it's actually insane.
Again, all of this and more will be showcased in the October 4th video. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this quick
there we
sneak
go.
peek video.
So there you go, guys. Shout out to Gotcha Gamer obviously for the video. This is just a reaction, but I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on Xilonen while reacting to one of these like early showcases, because obviously she's not in the game yet. I can't give you guys my, you know, hands-on playtesting with her yet. I'll be doing my video for her definitely on the release when she does release, and yeah, we'll do like my little first impression then on like actually using her in game, and then yeah, I'll do a full complete guide and everything like that. So that's gonna be it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Again, shout out to Gotcha Gamer for the video, and we'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace out, guys.